I'm Party B, and I'm currently the Chief Defense Officer of the state of Fredonia.
Thank you, sir. So I'm sure all of y'all would have attended a mediation process before, but still, as a mediator, it is my duty to talk about how mediation works and what you can expect out of this mediation session. So, as said earlier, mediation is a voluntary and willful process. By voluntary, I mean mediation is voluntary in two ways. First of all, both the parties are voluntarily agreed to come to mediation. And secondly, both the parties, while reaching any agreement or while negotiating, does this in a voluntarily capacity. So it is a voluntary and willful process. Also, mediation is a very flexible process as well. By this, I mean all the parties have the right to put in and pitch in any thoughts, and you can set your agendas as to whatever you want them to be, which should be discussed in this course of mediation. I would also like to assure you that in this mediation process, both myself and my co-mediator are only to facilitate this process. We do not hold any prejudice and we are impartial parties. By impartially, I mean that we will not be favoring any one of you parties. And also, as I stated earlier, mediation is a flexible process. So if at any point of this course of mediation, any of the parties feel that you do not want to continue with the process, you have full right to remove yourself from this process. Also, it is a very confidential process, but there are certain exceptions to this confidentiality, but this aspect of confidentiality will be dealt by my second mediator. Also, I would like to ensure you that we do not have the power to testify against you in any court of law or testify in any legal proceeding as to what happens in this particular mediation session. Any notes we might take will be destroyed at the end of this session. I hope we are clear as to what I stated in these things. And also, I would encourage the parties, if both of them have an open mind, whatever the past might have thrown at you, but we are here to talk about the future and to reach an agreement or to pitch in ideas and help facilitate a process which will be for the betterment of both the parties. So I will encourage both the parties to be open-minded and very flexible. Also, our goal here is to help you all set your agendas and help you achieve those agendas through whatever suggestions you may pitch in. So I would again like to specify that this is a very voluntary process. I hope both the parties have signed the written agreement to mediate, which entails the confidentiality clause and also talks about how the settlement process will work. Have both the parties signed this mediation agreement?
Yes, we
Written
have.
agreement to mediate?
Yes, we have.
Party B?
Yes, we have.
Okay, thank you, parties. So also now I would like to pass on to my co-mediator two, to brief you on the roadmap of mediation and how this exact process as to how this session is going to go, and also brief you about confidentiality. Thank you. Mediator two, on to you.
Thank you so much, Mediator one, for laying down the floor. And I hope with that, you do get to understand what the reason is today that we've gathered over here. It's still very important that so just what I concluded right now was Party A is a country, Party B is another country. We both two countries. And what really is been happening is resources are scarce, they're limited, and as of which there is a mutual dependence in the whole world. Both the countries are dependent on each other to have a mutual and better well-off of both the countries and of the world right now. So with that, I mean, we over here, we know why we have gathered. We've gathered to reach a settlement, which will make sure by the willingness of both the parties to have a consensus and reach a settlement. With this, I'd like to now proceed towards telling you how the roadmap will be, how we'll proceed further. Now, we'll proceed further according to how the parties want. At every juncture, whatever the parties want shall be taken care of, because mediation is a party-driven method. Now, parties over here need to understand that at any point of time, if they feel like the questions are being asked, they're very wrong, they want a private session to be to be made or to be taken in, please let us know, and feel free to let us know. Let us know everything that and everything you want. So with this, we'll have the opening statement first with the parties. Will let us know, and we'll set the agendas as well about how we should proceed further, because we do not want to deviate further, but we'll stick about what is to be discussed and what is really prima facie the reason that we've gathered over here. Speaking about which, if we come to a conclusion that the parties are facing rough patch or there's a rough phase, what we'll do is a private caucus can be called for, in which both the parties, one after another, can have a private session by us. And after that, we might as well call a party A first and then party B if both the parties agree to that. Now, with that being said, a private caucus is a session whereby anything and everything you want us to know can be disclosed, and it is totally upon you if you want us to tell that to the other party or not. So after the private session or private caucus is done, we then move on to the conference. Now the conference shall be the place and time where we shall discuss the agendas, settlements that needs to be reached, and anything and everything that is very important to come to a settlement. Now, at any point of time, this is not really what we can follow. This is just how the roadmap is. And at any point of time, if you feel like you need to have a private caucus session first or the conference first, you can tell us the same and we can go ahead with the process. And with this, I go on to tell you about the confidentiality agreement. Now, everybody does analyze the fact that we've been facing really, really bad time. We've been facing the COVID-19 and we've been stuck with the pandemic time. So what we've come down to is we'll make you the confidentiality agreement, and it has clauses which I'll discuss about. So anything and everything which is discussed today would not be disclosed outside the parties, and this shall be this has no binding. So honestly speaking, mediation process is a party-driven method, as told you before, and whatever you say will be helping us to reach a settlement. Confidentiality agreement states that anything and everything discussed over here shall not be going outside this. So with that, I proceed further to ask party A, would you like to start with your opening statement and telling us why we've come to for mediation?
Certainly, with the permission of the representative of Party B.
Right. You may.
Thank you. Firstly, I would like to thank both the mediators for giving such an elaborate explanation of the mediation process. Moving on, as Sir Mediator pointed out, it is rightly said that the magnitude of this dispute is so big and so large that there are numerous stakeholders whose livelihood are at stake. Therefore, resolution of this dispute is something which is of utmost importance for the welfare of both the countries present here. With this, we understand we have certain resources, the other party has certain resources, and we have put forth our demands before as well. However, for the benefit of this mediation process, we would like to state the same again before this forum as well. Atlantis is a country where we have developed and have maintained a special quality of life. Therefore, with state-of-art technologies and with proper quality of life, we have ensured that our citizens stay happy. Our neighboring country, uh, the Fridonian country, we're happy to be neighbors with them. They are more than welcome, and we are more than welcome to helping them. However, recently there have arisen disputes between the two due to the civil unrest in the country of Fredonia. As both the representatives are aware, there have been disputes regarding the porous bordering between the two countries, and the same has been taken up with the heads of the states by both the countries. However, when the same was not availed and not resolved, the state of my country believed that it sought the help of the Security Council in resolving the same. However, we would like to state that we are not against the citizens of Fredonia, as we believe, as we have employed them and we have imbibed them in our country. and they, to the extent that they constitute 30% of our workforce. Therefore, we are here to amicably resolve the disputes and to reach a conclusion where both the parties walk home happy and we maintain friendly relations with our neighbors. With that
Thank you.
being said, I would like to state the agendas with relation to
Yeah.
which we have come to this forum for the resolution of disputes. We understand that due to the civil unrest, there has been a migrant exodus, which is the first issue that has been taking place, which is the first agenda that we would like to discuss, resulting in the solution that we had proposed, and the second agenda, which is the erection of boundary wall, which in turn resulted us in going to the Security Council and hence coming to the third agenda, which is the blocking of the bay by the Fredonian government. Therefore, we would like to discuss the same with the representative today. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Nima.
Party A.
Council A, thank you. That was a very beautiful summary of how your country is developed and what kind of a country you are. Thank you. And I also thank you that you kept in mind that it is valuable, your relationship with Tridomia is as valuable to you. So from what I understand is that your agenda for today's meeting is to discuss about the exodus and how the migrants are, and the situation of the migrants. And secondly, you want to discuss about the erection of boundary wall. And then thirdly, you want to discuss about the blocking of bay. Am I correct in my summary, Party A? Is that right?
Yes, Madam Mediator.
Thank you. Moving on to Party B. Would you mind starting?
If I might, Mediator one, I would like to add something.
Yes, please.
So, Party A, we've set 3 agendas for you, and what we'll now do is we'll ask the same with Party B, and we'll come to a conclusion after what is to be discussed between the agendas after talking both with Party B and coming to a consensus about what has to be discussed. So, with this, I lay down the floor to Party B, and you could tell us about what has made you come to the mediation session today.
Yes, so good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Firstly, I would like to thank both the mediators for elucidating the process of mediation so well. And I would also thank the representative from Party A for being present here for the mediation session. As far as I'm concerned, I'm the Chief Defense Officer of my country, and I look after not just the security concerns of our country, but even the economy as a whole, because as you know, that security and economy go hand in hand. Madam Mediator, you know that our country is still a developing country, unlike the state of Atlantis, which is already a developed country. Hence, for us, whatever economic resources we have at our disposal, it primarily goes into the welfare of the nation and the people, right? So for us to maintain a reputation at the international stage is extremely important. Why is that? Because if the reputation is maintained, we would have good international investors who would invest in our country, and that would give employment to the people in our country. Now, in the present case, the state of Atlantis has claimed that the responsibility for the borders skirmishes lies on us. Now, as I mentioned earlier, that the population of our country is 300 million, which is almost 15 times more than that of the state of Atlantis. Moreover, the economy of our country is not as developed, and we're not a thriving economy unlike the state of Atlantis. Hence, the kind of military equipments, the kind of economic resources that the state of Atlantis has at their disposal, I think the responsibility, or a higher sense of responsibility, certainly lies with the state of Atlantis. Another claim which has been made by the state of Atlantis is that our country has been engaging in religious persecution. Now, I do understand and I do accept the fact that there have been refugees who are moving out of our country and going into the state of Atlantis. But you need to understand the reason behind it. The reason for this conflict is because of the civil war. The civil war is nothing but it was initiated by a politically backed militant organization who wants to overthrow the existing democratically elected government. And because of that, the national security agencies have stepped in. And being the chief defense officer, I can assure you that things are under control. Moving on, I do understand that approaching the Global Security Council is a long and a cumbersome process. And that's the reason we are here for the mediation session, right? Because we want to have a collaborative and a fruitful session wherein both of us reach a consensus.
That's right.
However, having said that, although we understand that approaching the Global Security Council is an unnecessary process, it is a process which my country and my battery of lawyers is willing to pursue if party A does not leave us with any choice.
Okay, if I may, so if I understood it right, Party B, so there's this, you representing the state of Atlantis, and right now what has really happened is that there's a civil war that had happened, and you're assuring that the condition as of now is taken care of, it's well off, and that has been, if I'm not wrong, to state that if I'm not wrong to state, you have a population of 300 million, if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
And if I'm also not wrong to say that, to put it into better words, you're a developing country, right? In comparison to Party A, which is a developed country. So
Absolutely.
by this, I mean, you do not have proper resources, which Party A might, is what you driving or what you're saying,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
right? And
Okay.
to just
To
summarize what
carry on, yeah.
if
No,
I
what would be your agenda? What would you want to discuss in this mediation session? Because that is important. So
right.
if I may confirm with you, Party A wanted to discuss about the border issues, the issue of migrants, and the erection of the boundary wall and blocking of the bay. Will you be okay if these are set as agendas for today's meeting and we discuss further on these issues? If that will be okay with you, or do you want to change it or add on any to that? Party B, please.
Well,
Right,
absolutely. These two
just
agendas.
one thing before you say. So one thing that I wanted to conclude was you said towards the end that Global Security Council is something you wouldn't be afraid of going at. But
Absolutely.
we have this mediation session so that we can prevent both the parties from going into Global Security Council. And so we know that that might be a further step. But today we've gathered over here so that we can reach a settlement. And
I think as I just to interrupt, as I said earlier, that we do want a collaborative and a fruitful mediation session, and we want to reach a consensus. However, if they put us in a corner and we have no way out, then that is a process which my battery of lawyers is willing to pursue.
to which my mediator one was right to state that if you could rather tell us what the agendas would be so that we could club both of them and it'd be really easier to see how the proceedings can further be taken up.
I think my agendas are pretty much similar to what Party A has claimed.
Okay,
I do
so
want to talk. Yeah, just to continue. I do want to continue. I do
So
want
you
to talk
agree
about,
with these 4 agendas?
absolutely, absolutely, and I would
Yes,
elaborate on
please
them
continue.
further.
Okay, thank you. So just to confirm with both the parties, I will be stating the 4 agendas for today. So the first agenda will be regarding the issue in which the border issue will be regarding the erection of a boundary wall. That will be the first agenda. The second agenda will be relating to the migration of people due to the civil war. Yes, the civil war. And thirdly, and fourthly, we'll be discussing about the blocking of the bay. Is that all right with both the parties? Just to confirm.
Madam Mediator, could you repeat?
Parties?
Because
right,
could you
just repeat the agenda straightforward.
because
So
I have been counting 3
Okay.
agendas.
right, that is what even I inferred. What we've done is
Yes,
we've
border issue.
the issue of Party B, that is the civil war that has basically occurred in their state. So we've clubbed together. We'll be discussing about these 4 agendas. Right now, if both the parties agree, we like to concentrate towards 2 agendas straightforward. That'll be one, the migrant agenda, and the apart from the migrant agenda, the erection of boundary. Because I feel like what is prima facie the reason we've gathered over today is that the boundary is not set forward. The boundary is not clear. There's no demarcation, and that is the reason why the reason we hear is the refugees have been going in. So clear demarcation has not been done. We would, if both the parties agree, I would like to state these 2 agendas to be discussed earlier, and I would like to know what both the party have to say if both these agendas are taken forward.
I think as far as I'm concerned, I do want to talk about the Bay issue first, because I think for me that is strategically very, very important.
Right.
Okay. Party A, will you be okay with that?
I suppose we could start off there. Yes.
Okay, then please, Party B, go ahead. Since you wanted to talk about this, I think you can initiate it if that is okay with Party B. Party A, please.
Clearly,
Right.
Party A and Party B, just before we proceed, at any point of time, even now, if you feel like you have any questions in your mind regarding the process, kindly feel free to ask us. And at any point of time, if you feel like you need a private caucus with us, kindly feel free to let us know so that we can have a private caucus where one other party can move out and we can have a private session with you. If both the parties are okay, can we have a private session right now, or do you want to have a conference right now?
I would want to hear the other party's side first before I get into a private
Okay.
Yeah,
caucus.
Party B.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it would be better also.
So we'll go with conference first, and then we can move on to private caucus if both the party agrees.
Yes, we agree.
Right. So party B, you have the floor.
Right. So, it's very convenient for developed countries such as Party A to state that we have a dominance over the Bay Area. Well, probably yes, but perhaps you also need to understand what Party A has been indulging for the past 1 year. In the past 1 year, Party A has been acquiring naval bases across the world in different countries, which has given them vital experience in blue water naval operations. Moreover, a lot of the companies, a lot of startups in these small countries, which have a strong coastline, therein the companies are being funded by the government of Party A through shell companies, because of which, to claim that we do not have, strategic dominance over a Bay Area, that is completely baseless because you've been already setting up naval bases across the world.
Party A,
Okay.
if you may like to add something.
Um, as far as this report is concerned, we would like to firstly question the credibility of these reports. On what basis are these accusations made? And secondly, accusing a country of supplying funds via your shell companies is a very serious accusation, sir. Therefore, we would like to question the same as well.
Party B.
Yes, I think moving ahead, it's very logical to conclude that all these countries which have a strong coastline have been funded by Party A, and that is primarily because if you look at the GDP of these countries in the last 2 or 3 years, there has been a drastic jump in the GDP of the countries, and the major reason for that is the kind of funds which has been, seeping into these countries by Party A. This is one report,
Okay.
and hence we would, I think, move forward with this claim.
Okay. So
And
what do you hope to get out of this? So what do you want Party A to do, or what do you suggest you do for this issue?
Right.
So what is that you want out of this? Because as far as now, both of you all are trying to say what bay lines these people control or what control you have. But what I'm hoping to get out of this is, what do you want to get out of it, or what do you propose?
Right. So even I don't want to
Party A,
enter into the
Party B,
blame.
sorry.
Yes. So even I don't want to enter into the blame game process because we want to collaborate and reach a consensus. But having said that, this very claim by Party A that they do not have, access to the Bay Area is completely baseless. And I feel that even if we're a developing country, right? Even if we have, let's say, some strategic access to the Bay Area, it wouldn't be a threat to Party A, which has already formed naval bases across the world. And hence, to claim that they want an equal share in the Bay Area is something which is completely illogical.
Party A,
Party A, if you might
would you
want
like
to
to say?
want to
firstly,
add something to what Party B said.
right, may I, sir?
Yes, please.
Firstly, we would like to state that we do not want to indulge in the blame game as well. However, the fact that there have been links that have been put forth saying that we are in some way responsible for acquiring naval bases by increasing GDP is a serious accusation, and without proof, we shall not be accepting the same. However, we do not wish to indulge in the same without seeing and studying of reports that shall be provided by Party B for their respective accusations made. Therefore, I would suggest that we table this issue, given the fact that there have been reports which are not made available to us before, and after the study of the same and talking to the officials concerned with the same, we will get back to you on this issue. Therefore, we would like to table this. Moving on, we would also like to state that the Bay Area has been customarily being operated by the representatives and the country of Party B. Therefore, it is not baseless of our country to say that we do not have any power with regards to the Bay of Marmar. Um, with this, I propose that since there are more pressing issues like the migrant exodus, which require a short-term as well as a long-term solution. I propose that we shift to that so that we can approach a much more stronger foundation, after which we shall engage in the tabled issue.
Right, parties. So
Okay.
if I might
Party,
intervene right now, what I would like to say, if I might mediate a one, so what I would like
yes, please go ahead.
to say in response to what Party A said, Party A is actually willing to look into the reports that you said, and Party B, if you could provide evidence and reports about the same to Party A, they'll like to indulge and have examination about the same. So they're willing to coordinate with you about the same, and what we think about as of now, as mediator one would agree to, if I'm right about it, was the prima facie reason that we over here is the two issues that we were talking about. One being the migrant issue, second being the border dispute. So how about Party B? We go on to talk about the issue in hand, which is important and which has made us lead to mediation session. So like I stated earlier, the border issue and the migrant issue. If you might want to discuss it, Party B.
I think we can go in for a private caucus and we can discuss this issues in detail.
Okay, and Party A, are you agreeing for a private caucus right now?
Yes.
Okay, so I would like the
And
moderator
before getting into private caucus, I would just try to say that what Party A says is that Party A says that their country has equal rights over the Bay Area, and he is willing to talk about it further after the reports have been submitted to them. Am I right, Party A? Is that what you wanted to convey?
No. What
Okay.
I am saying that the country has the accusations regarding the control of regarding the acquisition of other bases is something that we want to look into, and the accusation that we are funding some other countries is via shell companies is what we're looking into. However,
Okay.
the functioning of the Bay Area is not undisputed since it is controlled by Fredonia since a long time.
And you are okay with that? There is no more further discussion about this, right?
We will discuss about this. We are tabling this issue. However, the reports and the accusations that have been made, we would want to examine them first.
Okay, thank you. So can we move into private caucus if it's okay with mediator too?
Yeah, right. Mediator one, I just wanted to point out one thing between both the parties. So what we might as well, I would suggest to both the parties right now would be, how about session 2 could deal with these reports being examined by Party A. Party B could provide the results and the status about the reports to Party A. In the meantime, when we have the next session, we could go on to talk about this disputes. And further, what we will, if both the parties agree, we'll talk about the prima facie reason that you hear. And now, if both the party agrees, we might move into a private caucus session whereby Party A, if that's okay with Party B, would be the first party we would like to have a private caucus with.
Party B will be first.
Okay, we can do that. No problem. If both the parties agree. Okay, yeah. Party B, you're free to tell us anything and everything you want. And at any point of time, if you feel like you want us at any point of time to say anything, or feel free to tell us what you feel. So you have the floor, Party B.
Right. Thank you, mediator.
So there is what he's trying to say is what mediator 2 is trying to say is there's a second layer of confidentiality where whatever you reveal to us will not be let out to Party A without your consent. And only the information which you want will be let out, and any information you do not want will not be let out. So you can be sure of that. Please continue, Party B, please.
Absolutely. Thank you, mediators. And I'm really glad that this caucus session has taken place because, see, I'm allowed to be candid and honest, right?
You are.
Yeah. So
yes, definitely.
So I would expressly state my weaknesses and my strengths here so that, we can structure this and we can come up with solutions which would actually help me. So you need to understand that we are a poor country, right? We're a developing country. We're a population of 300 million people, And what Party A has been doing, even though it's a neighboring country, is it has been establishing naval bases across the world, because of which it has been getting strategic importance, not just in terms of, military importance, but also economic importance. And because we have been in a Cold War for decades, it just wants to use these as small countries against us. And hence, I don't mind discussing the border issue at all. I mean, I'm completely okay with a wall. I don't mind discussing that issue, but at the same time, it is very important to discuss why they have been, building this naval bases. And regarding the proof, as to what proof do I have? Well, if I do not have a proof, then why don't we have an independent auditory mechanism wherein we can actually find out whether the country party A actually use shell companies to fund these small countries which have a strong coastline. I think that would be better.
Right, party B. Is there any other
Okay, so
information?
that's a solution you're saying. So you,
Yes. Apart from that, I have a few suggestions which I can throw in, and you guys can chip in with your suggestions as well.
Right. Sorry.
As far as the goods which we import from party A, if we were to build the wall, which I'm agreeing to, however, I have some conditions regarding that. If we were to build the wall, then I think the kind of tax which we charge on the products that we import from party A need to increase. Moreover, as party A has already stated that 30% of our workforce, that is party B, works in the state of Atlantis. And hence we need a change in the labor laws, wherein suitable work conditions, because as you said, we are a poor country and cheap labor, and we are supplying cheap labor. Hence, because of that, most of these laborers who work in party A in the state of Atlantis are not provided with proper working conditions. And hence, if the labor laws are changed, and if we can increase the tax which we are charging on the import of goods, then I guess I'm more than willing to build the wall.
okay, thank you. Thank you, Party B. So what I understood from this is that you were trying to say that your country is economically not very well developed, and also you have a very high population, and that you do not like that Party A or the nation of Atlanta is building naval bases around the world. And what I understand from this is that since you do not have proof, you want to establish an independent authority or a forum to identify this issue. So what you suggested might be a solution to the block we have regarding that issue, because Party A clearly wanted proof. So we could suggest this to Party A. Is that all right if we could suggest this to Party A?
See, please try and understand that the auditory mechanism which I'm talking about will not be extremely fair and transparent, because even though our country is a democratically elected government, their country has dictatorship. And hence, I do not really believe as to how fair the auditory mechanism will be. And hence, it is the duty of the auditory agencies who will be auditing to maintain and to have a fair and a transparent process. Apart from that, if I may continue, as far as the military bases are concerned, the very claim that I made that they have been establishing military bases is something which is not out there in the open, given that video recordings or any sort of recording mechanism is not allowed in those bases. Again, because it's a dictatorship and you cannot control that. So if all these things are taken care of, then I guess it will be a really, really fruitful session.
Right. So Party B, I would like to just
definitely. So could I pitch in something? So yes, you were scared about the independent authority. So will you be okay if there is a supervisor from your country and their country to supervise over this independent authority to ensure fairness? That would be will that be a feasible solution to you?
Absolutely.
Okay. And also to confirm on your second point, yes, please. And also to confirm on your second point, if you want the wall built.
Just to chip in there, I think just having one representative from my country and their country would not be feasible, because there's a developed country. Hence, we want a superpower wherein, a superpower who actually sends an agency to investigate and do the auditing part.
Okay, just tell us what information we can reveal to Party A in our private caucus with Party A, and what information you will not be willing to share with Party A.
Right, so you can reveal them about the taxation part, which I have already talked about. So that's a very important issue.
Okay, taxation part, as in if you're willing to build the wall, you will have an increased tax on that import and a change in labor law. Am I right?
Was stating was the taxation process with regard to the products. So with regard to the imports, and that was with regard to what?
Imports, yes.
Yeah. So with regards to the Bay of Mama, from there is what I feel like is pointing out, right?
Whatever we're charging them now, we want an increase of 30%.
If I'm not wrong.
Yeah, an increase of 30% in the tax rate.
So 30%
and only if they're not willing for that, then probably we can intimidate them by this process of video recordings and auditory mechanism and everything.
Right. So another thing that I wanted to point out was you stated change in labor laws is what you want, since a huge chunk of labor laws laborers are functioning or working in their country. So you would want that as well to be suggested to
Of course,
them?
of course, of course.
Okay, so these two things
Okay.
would be communicated.
Let's
I
finish
will
this
have,
private caucus because
yeah,
I think the time has exceeded a lot. Yes, please.
thank you so much,
We'll
Party B.
definitely keep
We'll
your
now
points in
invite
mind.
Party A for the caucus.
Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, Party A. Now, before we
Thank you,
move
Party
forward,
A, for waiting.
thank you. Before we move forward, Party A, I would like to state anything and everything that you state right now is a deal of and will be inside the communication of confidentiality, and anything you wish us to tell to the other party that shall be communicated and make us reach to a settlement shall be communicated to them. And things that you do not want us to tell them shall be told by you and will be kept private and confidential. So kindly feel free to let us know anything and everything that you need to communicate. Party A, you have the floor.
Before I state my side, is there anything that the other party has
Right,
said?
right. Party A. So what Party B had to say? They had suggested two things, and before you could state,
They wanted to reveal about the tax thing.
yeah. But before we proceed further, how about we also get to know what your suggestions are, so that further ado we could take into consideration both the suggestions and then we could tell you.
So while we understand that both the representatives are involved in the functioning of a country, we understand that the time is valuable. Hence, my suggestions, me telling you, then you accommodating them, then you telling me, and then we change the suggestions. I'd suggest that you tell me if there are any suggestions, and
Right. So
accordingly,
there
I'll
are two
make the changes.
suggestions that I would like to point out with Party B said, and with those, these are suggestions that basically go on to say that since huge chunk of major labor force in your country has been provided with Fredonians, and 30% of the manufacturing industry comprises of Fredonians, what they said was that there's a need of change in labor laws, as well as what they want is taxation to 30% on the products that shall be imported in your country from the Bay of Myanmar. So these are the two suggestions and things that they would like you to know. And with further ado, I would like you to come to the suggestion that you have.
All right. So to quickly state the stance of my country and what the state of my head has instructed me to settle on to.
Right.
Firstly, the fact that this uncalled migration of the citizens, it is problematic for two reasons. First, it distorts the machinery with which a state works, resulting in lack of accountability, and secondly, lack in the administration of the country. Therefore, we would like to state that we're not against the citizens coming in our country. What we're against is the method in which they're coming to our country. Therefore, if they came so legally, we would be more than open to do so. We would, in fact, the head of my state was also proposing that we will change the travel entry laws for which for immigrants from Fredonia as a gesture of goodwill towards the country. Secondly, with regards to the labor laws, we understand that they constitute 30% of our country's workforce, and we will be open to consider the same. However, we would have to consult with our officials regarding the same and come up with much more concrete, particular specifications, which will help in finalizing the specifications for the agreement. Moving on, we still feel that the pressing issue here is the erection of the wall. And after an proper assessment of the same, our experts have deduced the amount to result to $100 million US dollars. And given the fact that our stance has been that both the countries bore equal pays in construction of the same, and we understand and consider that the Fredonian country does not possess adequate economic resources to construct the same. We acknowledge the same, and hence we come forth with the proposal that we will bear. There are majorly three sectors: the technological, the material, and the labor force. Given the fact that they, given the fact that we have the technological advancements, we will be more than happy to bear the costs of the same. Given the fact that we also possess the labor force, we will be happy to pitch in the same. However, the material costs include 50% of the total expenditure that is to be done. Now, given the fact that our counterparts, our neighbors, have huge resources of natural nature, we would appreciate if they extended their gesture of friendship by footing their part of the erection of the wall by providing us with the natural resources. Furthermore, we will be more than open to invest in the said country on the terms where we will help them refine and technologically advance their extraction to the extent that they can actually make perfect use of the resources that they possess and export them to not only our country but the other countries as well. So these are my solutions for this resolution of this dispute. And secondly, we also
Thank you.
recognize, I'm sorry, I'm not done. And secondly, and lastly, uh, we understand that this exodus requires a very quick short-term action, which we would like in the form of increased security personnel by both sides. Once we give that, we will ensure that at least for the short time, till the time this mediation is going on, there will be there will be controlled exodus and entry of illegal migrants. Thank you. And
Okay.
I would
Thank
like to
you. Thank you,
discuss all of
party
this
A. That
with
is
the party. I
okay.
would like to
You're
propose
willing
all of
to
this.
reveal all this to party B?
Not all of this, but whatever I deem necessary, I will reveal in the joint session.
Okay.
Okay. So just to summarize, so what you are suggesting is that you are totally okay with the legal immigration, but what your country does not want is the illegal immigration because that is causing you lack of accountability and lack of administration. And then
Yes.
even you are willing to change the travel entry laws as a gesture of friendship. And what
Yes.
I understand is that you are willing to this open to the suggestion of change in labor law as well, but you need to consult with your government regarding the same. And
Yes.
also regarding the erection of wall, as your country is improved in technology and labor, you're willing to provide these two. But since the party B is good in has a well-versed material aspect to it, you want them to contribute the material aspect of building the wall. Am I right till then? And then you're also willing to invest in their country because and improve their technological factor and whatever is found, they can export it to your country and other countries as well. So was I clear in stating what you wanted and what exactly you said?
On
Was that a
point,
fair
Madam
summary?
Mediator.
Please correct me if I'm wrong.
On point, Madam
Yes.
Mediator.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for
So if
it up. I would just like to point out, is there something specific that you would want us to tell or suggest to party B? Because
Yes,
they
I believe that the other party has been um, trying to digress from the main topic by bringing up topics of naval bases and whatnot. So we would like both the mediators to not coerce but nudge the other party to discuss the issue of
so
migration and
what I'll suggest is, if I'm not wrong,
yes,
your main agenda right now
I
that
think
you want to discuss is that the border
the border issue.
main agenda. So what we'll do is we'll call party B right now. We'll suggest what you had said, and we'll go on with
Yes,
discussing.
due to time constraint, let's get into the conference, please, if that is okay with mediator too.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. We'll call we call party B.
Yeah, please. Moderator, please, let's get into the conference session.
Good afternoon, party A and party B. I see that you're back, and with this, we conclude
Thank
our.
you for waiting.
Yeah, thank you for waiting that too. So with this, we conclude our private caucus. The session was very fruitful, and we've come to a conclusion that we have suggestions from both sides. And while I move on to say what party A has to say, party B, kindly hear me out. Party A has to say that we currently moving out from the main agenda that is in focus, that is the boundary. The boundary, that is the reason why the refugees are going inside the other country, and because of that not being set up, that is the reason why we're here. So like stated before, I even the mediator one, if I'm not wrong, we if you would conclude upon the same. So I would like to say that this topic is much more the reason why we're here, and that is something that we should discuss. Party
Yes,
B,
only if you agree, because Party A would really like that Party B. So, will that be something you're willing to talk about now? Because we had already spent the first part of the conference talking about the issue of the bay, so and the naval base. So, will you be okay with now moving on to discuss about the border issues and the erection of the wall? Party B, please.
You need to understand that both the issues and the issue which I talked about the naval bases, are very much connected. However, since we want to reach a consensus, I would be more than happy to discuss the wall issue first.
right, Party B,
Thank you so much. Party A, I think you can have the floor because you had a lot to say about the border issue and you had suggestions which you wanted to put forward. So, Party A, please go
Mediator
ahead.
one and Party A, if I might. So I feel like Party B also needs to know what has happened with the private session that happened with Party A, if I'm right, Party B. So I'll just tell you what happened in the
Yes,
private caucus session.
but I
So
think Party A specifically mentioned that he wanted to talk about it. So, if mediator is too okay with it, Party A can carry on with that. If he is okay with it, only.
Thank
that's
you so much,
Mediator?
mediator, ma'am.
that's completely fine. But I feel like both the parties
Yes, please continue, Party A.
was about.
Thank you so much, Madam Mediator.
Hello.
Thank you so much, Mediator, sir. Uh, with this, so what I've stated is that with all due respect, we have to recognize the importance and the urgency with which the immigration issue has to be addressed and resolved. So what is happening is that our machine, even though not in short term, but in the long term, the state's machinery will fail due to this unaccounted and unregulated entry of citizens in our country. Therefore, we believe that we have suggested a twofold solution. Firstly, which implements a short-term solution, and post the conclusion of these mediation proceedings, a long-term solution, which will obviously be with the agreement of both the parties. The first solution that we proposed on short-term basis is that we increase the security on both the borders, resulting in a controlled, regulated, and a mitigated, if not completely deny, the entry of illegal migrants. The second part we've been suggesting is that we want to erect the wall, and we have worked out the solution. Uh, we have worked out the costs and expenses for the same, which amount to 100 million US dollars, out of which 50,000 US dollars, 50 million US dollars are allotted to the requirement of materials like calcium, minerals, etc. And the other 40% are allocated to the, if I may, just one second, labor cost, and technology is allocated a 10% cost of the same. Therefore, if we add the two, we have proposed that we would bear the costs of the labor as well as the technological aspect, since we possess state of the art technologies which will help in reducing and confirming the cost of the same. On the basis of that, we recognize that you do not have the economic resources, and we will be helping you with the same by considering that you also possess the material resources for resolution of the same. So if you could, since when we add the costs on both parts, the footing comes on an equal basis, we would propose that we do this. Secondly, we understand that since the material resources you possess are in abundance and we possess the state of the art technology, we are willing to share and provide you with the technology that will be needed for developing your country and exporting the materials that you can manufacture from these raw materials to other countries, which will not only boost your economy, but also raise employment and solve other standing issues which might or may not be existing in your economy. Also, it has been conveyed to me that you have requested the consideration of labor laws. we would like to state that we will be more than open to consider our labor laws, provided we are granted time to consult with the respective authorities and develop a proper plan to propose to you. And lastly, we would like to state that since we do not have a problem with the entry of Fredonians in our country, the issue we have is with the method in which they are entering. If hence, we would like to propose as a gesture of goodwill that we will be open to amending and making more lenient travel laws with regards to citizens of Fredonia. Thank you.
Party B, I hope you understood every aspect of what Party A suggested. And if you have full understanding of that, what would you like to say? And if you did not understand any part of that, please be free to ask Party A or any of the mediators. We'll be willing to state it. Party B?
Well, thank you, Mediator 1. Firstly, I do not have even an iota of doubt in the state-of-the-art technology which the state of Atlantis has. And as I mentioned earlier, I would be more than happy to build the wall, provided I have a few conditions, and if they are fulfilled, then I'll be more than willing to, go ahead with this plan. Firstly, regarding the tax agreements that we have. So currently, whatever we are charging, as tax on the imports that we're doing from the state of Atlantis, we would need a 30% increase in those amounts. Apart from that, as you all know, that the Global Development Bank, the state of Atlantis, being the developed country that it has a major stake in that bank. And in the last financial quarter, only 10% of the funds of the Global Development Bank were used for us. So the Global Development Bank has to use its funds for developing countries, right? And only 10% of their funds were used for us in the last financial quarter. Hence, if that quota is increased to around 40%, then, and of course, apart from the travel laws and the labor laws, I think I'll be more than happy to go ahead with the plan of building a wall.
So if I may just confirm, so you do not have a problem with the equal footing in the building of the wall, sir?
Absolutely not. I think if the kind of investment which you guys can make and the Global Development Bank can make, I think we would have enough economic resources at our disposal to construct the wall.
So given the fact, excuse me, Madam Mediator, may I?
Yeah, I said Party A. Go on. That's what I said.
Thank you. Given the fact that we are already proposing the investing of technology, it is unparalleled. It is easy. It is more likely to say that in today's world, there's nothing such as technology which can put a nation forward, which can develop a nation drastically and marginally. Given so allocating the fact that technology can resolve a lot of issues, we would propose that you reconsider the quota that you demand in exchange in the light of us providing you with the technology for developing your economy. And secondly, with regards to the 30% taxation issue, um, we will have to again consult with our department, because explicitly with regards to the taxation issue, I have not received any instructions from my superior, and therefore I would post the same before him and would get back to you on this issue.
Party B?
I think I totally agree with what Party A is saying. However, I think these are some non-negotiable clauses which I have, and before these matters are settled, I would not agree to build a wall. So till the time I'm receiving investments, till the time my economy is developing, I would more than happy to build the wall.
So both the parties, I would like to point out this, that from what I gather right now is there is a sort of consensus that is coming to the iota or the percentage of what amount shall be made in regard to the building of the wall. Rightly pointed out by Party A, it shall be divided into three parts, and Party B is willing to share 50%, that is 50 million of the wall, right? That is in furtherance to if the demands are met. So we've reached a truthful conclusion, not conclusion, but then we have a start from here that you actually, we see that you've concluded by saying that 50 million is a good start. So that's great. Party A and Party B are in agreement of something. That is a really good start. So from this, I say, Party A, do you like to suggest anything else apart from what?
Yes, I would like a confirmation on one thing. So this wall is a long-term remedy. However, the exodus and the entry of illegal immigrants is happening at this very moment. Therefore, and as your president has also stated, that that nothing can be done unless and until we ensure that the wall is made more stricter and regulated to a higher level. Would you agree to the fact? Would you agree to the possibility of increasing the security forces which are allotted on the border fences?
I think being the chief security officer or being the chief defense officer, I'm very well aware of the kind of security which we have already deployed at the border. And I do not see any concerns regarding that.
So, I understand your point of view. However, we are requesting this as a gesture of goodwill from your part, as this will further only strengthen our relations as a foundation of good trust, sir.
Well, probably yes, we may consider that. I mean, given that we're already building the wall, I don't find any problem in that. And we can discuss about this in later mediation sessions.
So, no, the deployment of security personnel is something that I want to conclude in this very session, as it is something which is a short-term remedy. The wall is a long-term remedy, sir. Therefore, on the basis of the conditions which will prevail and the conditions that you've put forth and me getting back to you on the same, it will be contingent on that, correct? Therefore, I'm asking you if you could confirm with me, given that you're the chief of security.
Like
Right.
Party A,
Party
So,
B.
I may Party B, what I think Party is trying to say, that if proper security measures are still there, there's still a dispute of refugees still going on in the other country. If proper security reasons are deployed, why are there still refugees being going to the other country? Is what Party A has a concern about. And if you could tell us about if the security reason being advanced, or it could be made better, it would actually make your relations better. So that is what we're here for. And if you could tell us about that, Party B, if you're willing
As,
to.
right.
in addition, Ms. Patib, if I may, I'm sorry.
Yes, please.
I just have an addition to that. Um, Furthermore, as a gesture of goodwill, since we have promised you technology, now would be a good time to start as ever. So we would provide you with security equipment if that will help you increase the security at your end. And maybe we could conclude on the same, and we will get the paperwork started right away as soon as this session concludes.
I think
Party B, what
firstly,
would you be willing to
yes.
do in this
I don't.
aspect?
Right. So I don't mind deploying more security forces at the border, because the very purpose of building a wall and deploying more security forces is actually the same. However, that is subject to the condition that the loan which the Global Development Bank has to sanction, that stake has to increase by 30%. That is, earlier it was giving us 10%, now it should increase to 40%. If all these conditions are met, and of course the labor laws are changed, or at least the draft has been in the parliament, then I'd be more than happy to deploy my security forces along the border.
Um, so,
Party B,
uh,
just to summarize, so initially you stated that for the wall to be built, you need these conditions to be fulfilled. And am I right to say that even if you were to allow extra border forces in the border, you need these conditions to be fulfilled for both the categories?
Absolutely, because the purpose
Could you
remains the
confirm?
same. Absolutely, because the purpose
Okay,
remains the same.
Party A. Okay, Party A, your
understandable,
thoughts.
sir. We would just like to state that we're not averse to considering the conditions you've put forth. The very fact that we have come here is evident enough that we want to maintain this relationship. We want to make sure that we maintain a good friendly neighborhood. Therefore, we're asking you to put this with to put the deploy security personnel, and we're granting aid to you in form of security technology. If I would just like your confirmation on this, and we're not stating, obviously we will be considering your conditions and discussing the same in the future. However, what we want is a promise right now that you will deploy for the time being till the next mediation proceed. If that does not happen, if the next mediation proceeding is something that you do not think is valid, or does not work in your favor, then you're more than open to revoke your security personnel, and you can still keep the security equipment.
Party B, your stance on it?
No, I don't think I would agree on this because I don't see any reason why, despite having a major stake in the bank, why Party A cannot sanction us alone. And if that is something which Party A is not willing to, then I don't see any reason why I should deploy more and more security personnel along the
So,
border.
as we've stated, we're not averse to it. We just need to work out the paperwork and check everything to ensure that you actually the eligibility and the other aspects of it. We're not averse to any of it, sir. We just
Yes,
need
I do
time to consider.
understand. Yeah, I
Both
do
parties
understand.
over here, if I might, I feel like we having a tussle over here, and which is the last thing that we want over here. And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, to just because of the paucity of time, that we do have a fruitful conclusion to this session. That is, we did come to a conclusion that Party B would be willing to submit 50 million, that is 50% of the charges, and Party A would burn 50% of the charges of the wall that would be being made. And that is something we were looking forward to. So
Certainly.
this is what the fruitful conclusion of this session has been. I would rather now go to having the floor to Party A to move on to the closing statement.
We understand that maintaining good relations with your neighbor is one of the crucial aspects of building a family. Therefore, we do not consider you as neighbors but as family. We have imbibed you in our country, we have let you enter in our country, and we have let you into our hearts. Therefore, we do not want to pursue any more disputes with regards to this. With regards to however, you have to understand that there are certain aspects where we want to maintain our integrity and our machinery that has been put into place. However, that's the same has been facing issues due to the illegal immigrants. With regards to this, we hope that in the next mediation session we meet, we might resolve a bigger piece of the issues that we're having today. But I believe that the consensus on the issue of long-term remedy at least is a good step in the direction of building a stronger foundation between the two nations.
Right,
With
Party A.
regard,
Party A, if you would like to say, if are you saying something? Sorry, I'm so sorry,
yes.
Party A. Would you like to say?
With regards to this, I would like to say that all the conditions which have been put forth by the representative of Party B, we will be considering the same and getting back to you on the same with proper specifics of what we will be allocating and how we will be allocating the same. However, we still request the cooperation of the same with regards to the short-term remedy which has been suggested by the party. Thank you.
Party B.
Yeah,
Party
firstly, I
B.
would like to thank Party A for coming here and for at least giving me the assurance that all the offers that have been put on the table will be considered by Party A. Given that we have been in a Cold War for so many years, even I want to end this dispute here itself. But even though I acknowledge the fact that we haven't reached a consensus, I do hope that in future mediation sessions, we do reach a consensus and the sessions turn out to be even more fruitful and collaborative.
Thank you. Thank you, Party B, very much. I'm happy. I thank both the parties and my co-mediator for helping me to facilitate this fruitful mediation session. And I'm happy that both the parties could agree on something. And since in this current mediation session, we weren't able to get the assent of the respective governments, I hope in the future mediation sessions, after these things are taken care of, we will be able to reach an even more fruitful agreement. And I thank both the parties. And I really hope, as mediators, that we did facilitate this particular mediation session and did not overstep. If by any chance either I or my co-mediator has overstepped in any part, we are sorry for that. We did not mean to. We just so I'm really glad that both the parties could agree on certain fronts. I'm happy that both the parties want to maintain a cordial relationship. So I'm hoping in the future mediation sessions, we could definitely come to a conclusive agreement, which will be beneficial to both the parties. Please, mediator two. On to you.
Thank you so much, Mediator One. As always, you've laid down the floor really well. So I'll be just crisp and short. in the international arena, mutual dependence is what I started with in the first half, and I'll still go on to say that in the international arena, two things that really go on to say is one country does not have ample amount of resources, and they are hence dependent on the other country. The same is the scenario over here where party A, party B are mutually interdependent. And I also go on to say that in the international arena, when you have trading ties with other countries as well, let's not forget these are the not two just countries. You have other countries as well right there, and you want to have ties good with everyone out there. So by that I mean what you're having the dispute right now can have an impact on overall scene and can hamper your trade ties with others. So that is the reason why we're here and we're here. I saw that the conclusion was really great, that we now come to a settlement regarding the amount of the wall that shall be borne by each parties. And it was really great to have both the parties have this in this negotiation and mediation competition. And further to conclude, thank you Party A and Party B for putting forward your points. If at any point of time, if I pressed or asked questions too much, sorry for that. And you both really we both mediator 1 and mediator 2 would be really thankful, because the session was fruitful just because of you two collaborating with us and telling us how and what things have happened to you. So with that, I conclude my closing statement, and I hope you have a really good ties in further, and we shall have the second session in which we shall be dealing with other points. Thank you so much, Party A, Party B, and Mediator 1.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Stay safe.
If all the parties agree, I think that would be the end of our session. Moderators.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I must say it was a really great session. Congratulations, participants. Now I request Justice V.K. Shukla sir to share his valuable feedback.
It was sheer wonderful listening all the parties. And in mediation, the councils maintaining their cool is one of the essential features. And here I could see and watch that even the mediators number 1 and 2, as well as the councils party A and B, they were maintaining their cool at the best. And what best possible could be said for their respective parties, the same was addressed in the session in question. And it is true that all these serious issues cannot be decided in the first meeting, but as a preliminary session, this can be said to be one of the best sessions that can be there. So they have already proceeded to make a mention that the rest of the issues they'll be taking up in session B. So the day was fine and all the parties were at their best. My good luck to them.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so
Thank you so
much.
much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. So moving ahead, I, Prerna Kala, the moderator of the National Mediation Competition 2020, organized by Law Internships, extend a hearty gratitude to Justice V.K. Shukla sir, who honored us with his enlightening session by being a judge of the National Mediation Competition 2020 and took out time off his busy schedule. I must also mention a deep sense of appreciation to all the participants who actively participated and are present today. Hope this round was a great learning experience for all of you. Thank you again, one and all.
Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much.
much. If I may,
Yes, please.
Honorable sir, if we could get some sort of personal feedback, sir, since we obviously recognize that we failed in some aspects and you would have already obviously caught upon.
As far as Party A is concerned, the council in particular.
Yes, sir.
I for mediation point of view, his mode of argument and his line of argument was sheer wonderful.
Thank you, sir.
Coolness that should be there, was there. That impressed me a lot.
Thank you so
And
much.
as far as Party B council is concerned, he has all the qualities of a young council with all sense of vigor, with all sense of energy. So all the two councils had a different personality altogether in portraying the case of their parties.
Thank you, sir.
But merit-wise, they both were too good.
Thank you, sir.
It's difficult to decide who's the best.
Thank you, sir.
But every human being has his own special qualities.
So anything about the mediators as well, because
Oh yes, definitely. Definitely, the mediators were good. They knew their job, and as was the agenda that had been furnished to them, they were strictly as per that. So, by word and spirit, the agenda was being tried to be copied, and
Right.
within the limited scope of time, whatever best they can do, they did it.
We were asking you because you have much more experience about mediation process and other related process about this, and we wanted to know if anything could actually be made better. So that would really go on to help us in the next competitions that
In
we
the
participate.
preliminary round, in the first meeting, nothing can be much more better. That the parties are ready to come to the table and give their mind. That is the first step, and we were at the first step.
That's right. That's right.
But if this session goes on for one day, the countries will settle. As per the attitude of the respective councils, they have been responding, and they were very positive in their approach. And positivity is the essence of the mediation. In case you come with fixed ideas, negative ideas, then mediation is bound to fail. But once you are flexible, the mediation is bound to give some results. And it always gives peace.
Miss Moderator, are we allowed to leave?
Yeah, we'll just end the meeting now. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much.
And
Thank you, sir.
and thank you so much.
That was an honor.
participants.
Thank you so much, Miss Moderator, and thank you, Miss Divya and Ricky Khare.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, all young persons.
Yeah.
All the best, everybody, for the result.
Yeah,
Thank
all the best for the results. I
Thank
think we can end the meeting. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.